Hello everybody, welcome to Setting the Scene. I'm David. Now, I have built this really awesome 4x4 board of a kind of a settlement in the midst of a dusty landscape or a sandy landscape for the impending Iron Hands versus Demons of the Ruinstorm game. It's only 1,000 points, but we are filming it over the internet. Andrew's at home in his comfy chair watching me run around like a blue ass fly, kind of get everything set up, do all the filming, everything else. So hopefully this one has gone out okay. We had a really tough week last week, just so many elements against us, it just wasn't possible. But we are going to push on with this one and hopefully we'll get it filmed for you. I'm really looking forward to it. It was a really fun board to build and it was super simple. I think I had everything in stock pretty much and it just took me, I don't know, about 40 minutes to build this board. So really easy. I hope it makes sense as well, which is one thing I really love. You've kind of got this kind of unloading area, some empty containers, and then you've got this structure here, whether it's an outpost or whether it's just a small staging area for a much larger complex you know, this is kind of the unloading area that feeds a much larger complex, who knows, but it's the perfect sort of thing for a 1,000-point game. Now, I don't know who is going to be deployed in the structure. It could be the demons. They could have just taken over the structure and then killed all the inhabitants, and then the Iron Hands are coming in as a rapid response to reclaim it back. Or they were anticipating a strike, maybe, who knows, and the Iron Hands have moved into a defensive position. So we don't know who's going to occupy the structure itself, and we haven't chosen a mission yet. But I think no matter what mission and deployment type we choose, I think it will work really well over this. As you can see, I've built this separately and it was a lot easier because I wanted it to be quite rigid and I didn't have enough of those little tabs which hold these platform pieces together. Plus a lot of them have broken and they're just an absolute waste of time. So I generally put masking tape or duct tape. Duct tape is better, but I haven't got any duct tape, so I had to use some thick masking tape. So I've kind of joined it all together. It's still quite flimsy, but it will make sense in a second. And also the stanchions which I've used, which are the much longer ones, I've cut them down. I've cut more down to accommodate this board build. So you can see that now when I lay it out, it's a little bit more reachable. I think sometimes those stanchions can be too tall for a standard game of 30k. I'm not including Necromunda in this because obviously they were designed for that and they worked beautifully for that, but they don't necessarily work that well for a game of 30k because everything is too high up, so I think it needs a little bit of, it needs to be lower to make it feel part of the battlefield. Next, we're going to use this rock formation, which you've seen me use in games of Adeptus Titanicus, and it scales perfectly with AT, but I've tried it with this platform I've just built, and it works brilliantly. So I'm going to try and position this as best as possible. Now we are playing demons, of course, so they will be popping up all over the place, so I don't want it slap bang in the center, I want it kind of off to one side. Now making this fit around this platform was just absolute luck. So I pushed it as much as I could and made an interesting structure. I'm using these awesome containers just to support the structure where I ran out of stanchions. I didn't want to cut too many. And it's the perfect height to the stanchion, so it all sits at the same level. Just laying out these pipe sections. I like it to feel like it's part of something much bigger and these kind of reaching out from the station itself. These will get buried in sand, so they'll be hidden beautifully. And also it's just an extra piece of terrain for models to walk over. Could have done with a load more, but this is what I have. I'd like to have taken them off the board rather than keeping them on. I really love these barrels and crates. They make such a great terrain piece. And I think it looks really cool when units start sort of moving through them. You know, you can kick barrels down, lay them on the side to just show that the unit has moved through them quite successfully. They're really cool. I have a ton more coming in my sea freight, and hopefully the ship should arrive in the next week. So we're at the beginning of September now. So hopefully mid-September it'll have docked, and then perhaps by the end I would have had access to the stuff inside. Of course, with the 3D printer I've got, I plan to print a load more and get them painted up and start using tarpaulins and stuff, and just like many other people out there in the community have used, to absolutely fantastic effect. And then it means I won't have to keep building these every time, because although I've got a few, I've not got a massive amount of them. It'll just save time on the board builds. Here's the fun part that I really enjoy now. So what we're aiming to do is we're aiming to cover up a lot of this board. Now, of course, because there's no clearly defined barrier, the sand will bleed over the edge, but that's the reason why I've used the Zone Mortalis tiles. So in game, I know where to reference the end of the board. It also looks better when it's blended in as well. I love the way the sand just goes through the whole form of the structure there. Just the sand would. Sand gets absolutely everywhere, as anybody who's been to a beach or played in a sand pit can attest. But it just makes it look so realistic. All right, this is the first time my airbrush has been used in New Zealand. I wish it was for painting stuff, but that's going to come very soon, hopefully. I just feel that the pipelines would have been at least tried to have been kept clear, either by a little servitor cleaner or by the inhabitants. You know, maybe if the Daemons have deployed in the structure here, that it was fairly well maintained until they arrived, and then they've and it was, obviously cleaned during that period. The Daemons taken over, and the rapid response from the Iron Hands was so quick that it's only been a matter of a day or so, and the structure is still fairly tidy. Or, the Iron Hands are deployed in the structure and they've made a reasonable attempt at clearing a perimeter around the structure, so if they need to move around it, they are unimpeded, and obviously protecting the vital lines of the pipelines there. So I've got a hoover on standby, and that's just going to be used to hoover up the carpet. Now the other thing you'll notice is that I haven't got any slate, which is really unfortunate. Some slate would have been really good contrast here, particularly around the rock structure. But as I mentioned in my post the other day, you know, mail is a little bit slower, as you'd expect here. So, sorry, not here, due to the current situation, due to lockdown. Sorry, there's not a slant on the New Zealand Postal Force. So I did have someone order, but it hasn't arrived, so I've just got to do the best that we can. Thank you so much for watching this board build. I would suggest whip over and watch the main game between Andrew and I. See you there.